got a sneaky suspicion I just skipped a cutscene.
You have defeated Malik, destroyed the Starforge, and broken the spirit of the Sith. For this, I am proud to present you each with the Cross of Glory, the highest honor the Republic can bestow. From Coruscant to the farthest reaches of the Outer Rims, you will be known as the saviors of the Republic.
On behalf of the Jedi Council, defenders of the galaxy, and sworn protectors of the Republic, I too would like to honor you for your actions. We Jedi now have another tale to weave into the grand history of our eternal order. The redemption of Revan, the prodigal knight. Wherever you go, you will be recognized as the saviors of the galaxy, the heroes of our age. But you must remain ever vigilant. For one day, you may be called upon yet again to defend the glory of the Republic against the tyranny of the dark side. For this is the destiny of the Jedi.
So they're teasing a sequel. I don't know if... I say that, I don't really know anything about the sequel, other than it's a sequel. So I guess, from the way they've set up there, I would assume that's going to be us. Credits waffle. So I'm kind of looking forward to the content ID on this episode, probably from this music. But I'm kind of looking forward to the sequel. I'm not sure if I probably won't do it straight away. I might be doing something else. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I don't really think about things that much while I'm playing the game. Normally it's kind of straight afterwards. I'm like, which game should I do? And then I kind of sort through things and think about what games I've got, what games people have been enjoying me playing. That often has an impact. So yes, credits waffle, waffle. A few issues I've had with this game. I'm going to go first of all technical stuff, which is that every so often, I don't know if it's because it's windowed, but it would stutter. Like we've had it a few times here where it'd be like, are you actually playing the cutscene you're meant to? I'm thinking we may have missed one where the Ebon Hawk managed to fly out of the explosion, which would have been a really cool cutscene. But I don't know. And I don't really want to go and find... I don't really want to go back and watch it. I don't know if they're on the... in the files they might be, so I might be able to see it. But it just seems really weird. I think it might be because they kind of have them on a separate kind of almost system. So it's playing them. It's got like a little kind of media player part of it that it's kind of opening and playing. I think I guess is what's happening, and I think that might be a bit of an issue with what's happening. So hopefully that's not what happens in 2. I have been told by someone that they prefer 2. I don't know. Again, blind. Don't tell me. Maybe agree with their assessment, but don't give anything. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the combat system, which I assume 2 will also share. I've kind of ranted about it enough. But it's times like if you get knocked out, then you lose complete control of your character, or any orders you give are removed. Any orders you try and give are removed preemptively while you're before you can try and use them. While your guy's getting up, that happens. Sometimes clicking on a character means you're clicking to attack. Sometimes you're just clicking to select, and there doesn't really seem to be a logic as to which is which. I'm not really a fan of the combat system. In general, it kind of frustrates me. I think it's also kind of partially the AI seems to be a little limited in that they won't try and heal themselves. They'll just try and fight, and sometimes they'll rush into support. What I like about this game is the narrative, especially when I've been playing Inquisition and getting really frustrated over this fact there's so much side stuff, and each area seems to outstay its welcome because of it. There were many parts... Pardon me. There were many parts in this game where I was kind of like, is that it for this world? I want to see more. Come on, give me more. On a world, which I think is a great sign that it's well written to an extent. It is better for people to leave people going away saying, oh, I want to see more of this world. I want to see more of this level, this dungeon, this whatever, than to have people, Inquisition, being sent away with, oh, really? Do I have to go through all of this in this area? Do I have to do more in these areas? As I kind of ended up feeling So I think it was really good, kind of that kind of situation. I will say, I liked the idea of Revan. I do like that. There seems to be kind of I don't know if it's kind of I've just picked up on them very easily. But it just feels a little kind of. I mean, maybe maybe a lot of people didn't get it, and I just happen to have a brain that's seen enough kind of shows and television programs and films and games where they've got like little weird twists like that. So my brain's just like, oh yeah, there's a thing here. Jennifer Hale. Why is her name familiar? Is she Femme Shepherd? Femme Shepherd. She is. I've been playing. Actually, last time I streamed at the time of recording, I played a bit of Mass Effect, and yeah, it is. So yeah, there's my idea and views on the narrative, views on kind of the combat and technical stuff. Music is good. A lot of it's kind of in keeping. I don't know how much of new music they did, which I think is probably a good sign that it was in keeping. I was about to say, oh, it's all in keeping. I'm like, was there any stuff? I don't know, but it was good. Voice actors going away, all of them were. I can't think of any. The thing is, with voice acting and music, the only time you really notice it is either if it's someone you know before and it's their kind of style, and you're like, oh, okay, I know who that is, or if it goes bad, if it goes badly wrong, and you kind of go, okay, you notice bad voice acting, you notice bad music, inappropriate music. I didn't notice anything of the kind in this, so. There is that to talk about, to kind of note. As characters, I may as well talk about it. It's a BioWare game, and I think this kind of, it feels a little bit like Origins in the fact it's a BioWare game. You're focusing on, you've got some characters you focus on, and blah, 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 blah. It feels like Origins in the kind of structure, in that you have some very kind of focused areas like the Origins, Ostagar, versus in this game you've got kind of the Endor Spire, Taris, and Dantooine, and then after that, are we finishing? And then you kind of open up, and there's several different ways you can go, and you'd order things differently. I'm guessing we finished, unless something's about. Oh, we finished the credits, but I've not finished waffling, so I shall keep waffling. And then after that, it kind of comes together into a more into a focused kind of. Here's the order you do things when you get to whatever the planet was below the Starforge. So characters. Let's go in a kind of random order as I kind of think of people. Some people I'm going to have towards the end because I might have more to say about them. Jolie. What was it? Jolie Bindo. I don't think. Characters should be introduced that late in the game. Like this, he was on Kashyyyk, which was my penultimate which was the penultimate area I went to. So I went there out of the ones you choose of an order. Then I went to Korriban. I don't think I used him. Then we went to. Then you get to the Starforge and you have to use him in the temple, which I suppose is good. You're forcing him to be used, but I think it probably would have been better if, or at least if the council had hinted at him. I don't know if I can't remember if they did, but someone who may be able to help you lives on Kashyyyk, or the last reports we have of him is on Kashyyyk. And then you find out, then you meet him, and you're like, oh, you're the guy that they've suggested looking into. That was kind of a frustration. Because of that, I didn't really get any kind of much of a kind of character plot idea of him. Like I'm guessing, like we never got to the point of finishing his companion stuff. Neither did we with Canderous. I kind of like him. He's kind of dismissive of you, and then finds out you're Revan. He's like, oh wow, you're Revan. And he's almost kind of starstruck by that, which I do kind of like in that regard. Because he's the anti-Carth, and so his reaction being opposites to Carth kind of makes sense. But I didn't really use him that much, partially because I was kind of happy to use Karth because he was kind of light side and so agreed with the actions I was taking. So I didn't really use Canderous, so I didn't finish his stuff. Same with HK. I kind of like... he didn't really have a plot to him, HK, in that there wasn't really a quest attached to him other than getting him, and he finds out that you're Revan. He's like, oh, right, yeah, you were my master, so my assassination things pop up, or my memory is restored, or whatever. So it kind of, that kind of worked, but he didn't really have a character to him other than kind of slightly more homicidal, I should probably say. No. A homicidal version of Bender from Futurama in some sense. Calling everyone meat bags and kind of being generally dismissive of everyone around him. So he kind of didn't really have a character. Beyond that, he didn't really have a character other than the kind of assassin bot. And neither did Tima. I would have liked to have more from Tima as a character, but they just played him as a utility bot, which when you've got Mission, who is also a utility character, and has a character, he's kind of... I didn't really use him. I think he was... Those three, Canderous, HK, and Tima were the 11/11s, because I hadn't used them, which I think is kind of a bit sad. If you compare them to... So if you look at those three, I think they're meant to be there if you don't side with... If you're dark side. So you've got two shooters if you want them, and you've got a utility character. Whereas if you go light side... you can do what I did, which is predominantly use Karth and Mission. So I think you've got a bit of flexibility in those characters. Where are we? Zalbar. Again, I think Zalbar is kind of what I was talking about a little bit. I would have liked to have seen more of him in Kashyyyk. And that would have meant having more stuff in Kashyyyk in general. Or maybe having to go back. So maybe the fact I didn't go back is a bit of a problem in that regard. And I should have just I should have gone back to Kashyyyk. Maybe gone back to Kashyyyk, done some stuff, seen how he reacts. But I think kind of maybe if you had like a little bit of a sequence where you have to go back to each area, you could have done that on Korriban. Like part of the gaining prestige is going out and getting stuff, and then you come back rather than just having stuff on Korriban. Maybe having a bit more of an idea on there. I don't know, maybe, possibly, random idea. So that leaves, so I've gone through 1, 2, 3, I'm trying to work this out in my head. Okay, Juhani. So let's talk about Juhani. I kind of like the way she was introduced as this fallen Jedi, this Jedi who had taken on the dark side, which is kind of an echo to Revan before you find out you're Revan. And kind of probably affect your decision. I assume you can... I wonder if you can actually go dark side, being dark side, bring her back to the Jedi, inverted commas, but as a dark side, and see how that works. I wonder if you could do that. I don't know. I probably wouldn't do that because I don't really do dark side stuff. My alignment is the fluffy side. I'll say stupid things if I want to. So I kind of like her, and I think that also gives her an ability to talk to Bastila at the temple, talking about what dark side is. So we can talk about it, but we've also got Juhani from another perspective saying the dark side doesn't work. The dark side, you need to pull back from the dark side, which I do like that you've got multiple things going on there and that kind of relationship in things. Mission. I really liked Mission. She's kind of happy-go-lucky, and yeah, woo! And occasionally uses words as well. And she was my main utility person, I think, partially because of her abilities. She was really good in utility. And because she had a character. As I said before, Tima really didn't. Mission's story is about her trying to help her brother, and that doesn't really work out. Which kind of seems like she wants to help her brother, she wants him to go straight, and then that falls apart, basically. and he kind of reveals that he doesn't really deserve her trust. I think if this were a later BioWare game, first of all, we wouldn't have had the combat system we'd had, and secondly, I think there would have been options on who to romance, and I think Mission probably would have been one of them. She reminds me a little bit, thinking about it, of Tally. She's not as awkward as Tally, but she seems to have a variety of similar traits, and I think that's probably why I like her. And I don't know, actually. If I had a choice of romancing her, would I have done? I think it depends who the other options were. But I did quite like her, and I think it was good to introduce her. I think she was a good character for everything, and I think I really like her response to Karth with the Revan reveal, which is like, okay, he was Revan, who is he now? That's the important thing. I see someone and I think she's like, I see someone who's been through thick and thin with us, who's stood with us, who's been with us, who's our friend now. Doesn't matter who he was, which I think is great. And then you've got Karth, who's kind of got two different stories going on, both connected to the attack. And the key one is his revenge on Saul. Surname escapes me. Saul Kareth, I want to say, but that might be wrong. So he's kind of focused on that, and I think I would have liked to have seen kind of a bit of a pullback on that. I can't recall much of a kind of, this can take you, even though you're not part of the Force, down a path of the dark side, and you can go into you could end up in his shoes anyway, going that way. I think I would, I think more kind of commentary on the kind of Jedi code and the dark side, light side dynamic. Because he's quite light side, and yet he's being driven by, in some sense, revenge. I think I would have liked to have seen kind of an aspect to that coming out a bit more. We don't really see much of his son, and I think that'd be something else that could be interesting to have kind of fleshed out a little bit. Because it's just one quest of find his son, get his son, to see that the Sith aren't as good as he thinks they are. But then it doesn't really go anywhere beyond that, and I think that would have been nice to have seen. It's just kind of a where does that go in that regard. So I think, and his relationship with Karth and how that works. Karth, loyal to the Republic soldier, and I think that's probably why he's light side. I'm guessing that Saul, if Karth weren't as light side, weren't so loyal to the Republic, I'm guessing Saul would have invited him to switch sides from kind of the way that they spoke about each other to some extent. So I think, and then finally Bastila, I do kind of like the kind of awkward kind of romance of we shouldn't, but we kind of like we want to. Should we? I like the fact that it's kind of what brings her back, or at least in my playthrough was kind of what brought her back to the light side, and that's kind of what's being used. I'm not sure if I kind of would have liked to have seen it be used in Malak twisting her to the dark side, and because I mean that's kind of one of the things is like we're not supposed to do it. Could he have used that she's saying that the Jedi Code doesn't allow it? Could he have used that to make her go to the dark side, rather than just outright torturing her? Just kind of make it slightly more manipulative. But I think from what we've seen, I guess Malak is more of the brute force kind of dark side, whereas Revan was more the manipulator. And I think kind of we're seeing it, especially with kind of the face guard and the distorted voice, kind of makes sense that it seems that Revan was more Darth Sidious Emperor Palpatine, whereas Malak was more Darth Vader. He was the guy who went in and attacked. He was the brutal guy. He was the somewhat brutal guy who did what had to be done, in inverted commas. Whereas Revan seemed to be a bit more manipulative. From what Malak said at the end, Revan may have manipulated Malak to go down the dark side. So I think it kind of probably does actually fit that he just tortured Bastila to switch to the dark side. I kind of actually do like the idea of the Starforge. It sounds admittedly a bit like the Citadel. It's this kind of ancient thing that's been around forever, that's secretly alive and kind of manipulating other people to do what it wants, kind of thing. So maybe some seeds there for Mass Effect. And I think I think this has been a great game. It's apart from the combat at times. But then there were some times in combat where I just kind of seemed to breeze through things, and it was kind of like, okay, that was I think there was a little bit too much of randomness in some of the setups. As I've kind of been ranting about a little bit in this session anyway. But I think this has been a really fun game, and I think it's just kind of making the point that I do really like BioWare. A lot of their stuff I really enjoy, and I think they just kind of make games that kind of almost for me is I love good stories in games, and the mechanisms, as long as they don't get in the way, are kind of it's the game I want. It's the story I want, the characters, the world, and I think sometimes if the gameplay gets in the way of that, it's a bit frustrating. We have that here in combat, and you kind of actually have that a little bit in Inquisition with the side stuff, kind of almost kind of pretty much getting in the way of what you want. So there we are, the end of Knights of the Old Republic, the end of my babble. The credits long over. Actually, are there any kind of movies at the end? Was there a movie at the end? Thought I missed. The Unholy Victorious. Is that what I meant to go? Is that what we missed? Let's have a look. No. No, that was the fighters, wasn't it? So was this the one? Oh no, this must be the shooting. And I just clicked off it anyway. So I don't know what the end was. I don't know if we skipped one at the end. Ah well. Oh well, that's kind of sad. I know a variety of different people have. If there is a cutscene at the end and you want to go and see it, I'm probably not going to edit it in. But because I've just talked about the fact I've missed it. I know that a variety of people have done other Let's Plays of this. I know Variax has, off the top of my head. He's also done a Knights of the Old Republic 2 Let's Play, which I haven't watched because I want to do mine blind. So go and check him out. I can't actually think of anyone else off the top of my head who's done one, but I'm sure that if you search for Let's Play Knights of the Old Republic in the search bar, you'll find others who are probably much better at the combat than I. Because I wouldn't be surprised. Yes, so there we go, Knights of the Old Republic. The babbling is over. The credits have long finished. All there's left to do is say, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for watching.